My name's Jill Rowe, and in this episode of the Different Podcast, I talk with Steve Chalke about beginning a new year. Instead of resolutions, we think about setting goals about what we will do and how we will be. We explore how vital intention is and how we can enjoy the gift of each day so that we live life so well with depth and faith and hope and love. So this day, how might we use it? How will we be intentional? As we approach the new year together, let's embrace the teacher that disruption is, helping us to grow in who we are and what we do so that we can together bring more love to the world. Steve Chalke, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Jill. Woo! 2026.
Isn't that weird?
It is really weird. 2025 evaporated really fast. Did you find that? It was like, I thought it was only about February, but it turned out to be December.
I know.
It just, like they say, the older you get, the faster it goes. But I tell you what, I must be really old because it just goes so fast.
Within a blink of an eye. Yeah. But here we are, new year, 2026.
And a new horizon opens up.
So and we could talk about that. Should we talk about that today? I know that because you often have come back from the Christmas break through other years and you come back and you've made a list, haven't you? You've got some practices. And
it's like I'm like Santa Claus, he's making a list, he's checking it twice.
Either that or you're extremely predictable, which is not what I'd say about you. But and then I've got some practices. But why do you make a list?
I make a list because it focuses me. And I'll tell you what, this school where we're sitting in, because we actually record
the drama studio.
In the drama studio in a school.
Yeah.
So however many years ago we opened this, 12, 13 years?
Something like
I can't remember how many years ago it was. But for the year before we opened this school, I'm guessing, but I know it would be true, I would have had open
a secondary school.
Open South Bank Academy in Waterloo. Get that open. Get it past government. But normally what I do is I have 3 or 4 or 5, or sometimes even 6 big goals. These are the big things I want to achieve. And then if it's 3, I can remember some years I've had 3 big things. And I think if I get all 3 of these away, wow. If I get 2, still good. 1, great. None, but I would have learned a lot and we could have another go next year. So this would have been on this very place we're sitting in, would have been on my New Year's list at one point.
Yeah, but you don't call them resolutions, do you?
No,
I've never heard you say, I've made a set of New Year resolutions.
No, I call them goals. Aims, targets. I mean, this is what I'm going to give my life to. I'm going to fight for this year. Kind of like I've got a few for this coming year. Well, no doubt you'll ask me about later. What about you then?
Yeah, I write I do a looking back. I journal.
What do you waste your time doing that for? No, I'm joking.
Well, we're different people, aren't we?
No, looking back is really good.
So I look
Why
back.
didn't that happen?
Yeah, and I think my attention, so your attention is what do I do? And my attention is normally on how have I been as I do what I do.
You see that?
So and that's why we work so well together, Steve.
You're more holy than me.
Because we bring something different. So I normally look back and think about, so what in 2025, what was it that I think I did well at in terms of how I am.
That good old introspection.
Yeah, and what
that's good actually.
What am I not so proud of about things that happened last year? Yeah. And then in the year ahead, what do I want to focus on so that I can do the work that I have to do and want to do in a better way than I have? So whereas I know you are like, goal fixated on these are things they need to achieve. No, it's not terrible. It's just different, isn't it?
You know, I've probably told you this before, but, well, you know Cornelia, my wife, that's the giant difference between us. You know, we've been married like 45 years or something like that. I'm probably wrong about that as well. But anyway, no, I think it
46 now.
Is it? It might be. So, no, I think it's 45. Anyway, so she'll say to me, literally, you probably know this anyway, she'll say to me, do you remember our 17th wedding anniversary, or that Christmas? Well, she said this last night. You know, that Christmas when Emily was 10.
And we got her.
Yeah. And do you remember the Christmas tree that year? It wasn't as good as the year before. I'm thinking, what is this woman on? But she has this extraordinary memory for things and moments, and what a wonderful moment this was or that was, etc., etc. But then the embarrassing bit is when she asked me, "Do you remember what you were wearing?" I'm like, I can't remember that. I can't remember anything about it. And I know it's a weakness in me, actually. Because I am so utterly, I can't help it. I'm not, this is supposed, future focused.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Whenever somebody leaves Oasis.
I hate it because I never know what to say.
And I have to do a talk about what they've done, and I can't remember. And it's not because I don't value them. I love them. I really love them. But I can't, quite recently, I wrote a history of Stop the Traffic, which is a charity we run. And I wrote it, and then I gave it to someone we work with, Danielle, and she said, it's all wrong because I can't remember. And she told me what had actually happened, and she wasn't even there. And I thought, oh yeah, you're right. Because she looks at all the legal journals and stuff.
She's got it all.
I'm useless looking back.
No, but that's the difference is a good thing, Steve. But in either case, what we're being is intentional, right? And that's because ultimately that's what matters, doesn't it?
To live intentionally, to not take one day for granted. And, I went to see a really good friend of mine yesterday. Again, who you know, and he's dying. Yeah, he's been dying for 1.5 years, but it's accelerated in the last 4 weeks, probably. In fact, 4 weeks ago, I think I went out and had a meal with him. 5 weeks ago, and in a restaurant, and he was fine. He's ill. Yeah, and he knew it was incurable, but. We were in a restaurant enjoying an evening. Yeah. He's a really sorted bloke. But yesterday I went to see him in hospital, which he'd never leave except for a hospice. And his life's ebbing away from him very fast now. And I had the greatest conversation with him because I have the uttermost respect for him. And he said, he said to me at one stage, he said, people keep praying for me. And he said, I just pray. He said, I say to them, this is what you should pray. Pray that I get iller quicker. Because I'm ready to die. Yeah. I just want to get iller quicker. Yeah. That's a good prayer. I laughed because you can laugh with him. And there's a person who's lived his whole life really well, who honestly I owe him so much, who has a genuine depth of faith. I said to him, that's amazing because faith isn't trying to cling to this world and pray for some miracle. If you got faith, then actually you can live well and die well. But one of the things I came away from yesterday afternoon, I should say, is just like every day is a gift to be used intentionally. Yeah. Not to be I'm not saying become a workaholic. I'm saying recognize the greatest gift you've been given and use it.
Yeah. And there's something, isn't there, about the turning of a year. In some ways it's very false. I understand that. But it's a chance, isn't it, to go, well, look how far we've come. and to celebrate and to learn and all the rest of it, and then to go and look how much further there is for us to go together, and all the things that we can do and be as we make that journey together, but not to beat yourself, because so often, you know, you turn a year and you're like, oh, it's all about, I need to do this much exercise and I need to not eat that and I need to make sure I do this. And then by the 3rd of January, it's all busted because none of it lasted.
Well, no,
So it just doesn't, life isn't like that. Life doesn't. Yeah. So I think this idea of being intentional about what you want to achieve, i.e. the way you do it, setting goals, setting targets, and then maybe also a bit of what I try and do, which is how do I want to be as I do those things, enables us to live every day well, doesn't it? But not beat ourselves up if we have a...
So I'd like to ask you about that in a minute, and your reflection on what you gain from looking back on who you are.
Yeah.
But I've got a friend, actually, I've lost contact with him in the last little while, but I used to live in Croydon and he ran a gym. And he used to tell me every year, he said, we trade on the new year. Yeah. He said, because we stick out loads of advertising about get yourself beach fit.
Yeah, beach fit at the start of the year.
Yeah, and he said, it's amazing. Everybody signs up, he said, and they come for a couple of weeks and they never come again. And he said to me, if they all kept coming, we wouldn't be able to cope because the gym's not that big. But the funny thing is, they sign up, do a couple of weeks, and then they keep paying us. And he said, so we get their membership fee every month. Is fantastic, he said. But the first thing that's fantastic is they pay every month. But the second greatest gift to us is they never show up.
It's like a guilt standing order.
And that's trouble with New Year's resolutions, aren't they? They're hard to follow through on. But tell me about then. So you look back on, you're looking back on 2025 now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're reflecting on how you were.
Yeah. And I will be thinking about the times during the year and patterns that I noticed about where I felt most challenged. So in dynamics with people or in particular parts of the work I have to do. And then I'll think to myself, well, why did I find that so difficult? Like, why was that particular moment so difficult? What was missing in me, or what wasn't where it should have been in me that made that more problematic? Because that thing is probably going to come up next year. So how am I going to do it differently next time around? It's like, for me, it's like, you know, sports coaches, they will look really carefully at the way that an athlete runs or performs and just find one thing that if you just pay a little bit more attention to that, then when you do it again, it's going to feel better, not just for you, but actually the impact that will have on other people will be, they will experience more compassion, more tenderness, more kindness, more joy, more grace, more honesty from you. And I don't want to bulldoze through life. I want to make sure that I use every opportunity to grow the inner sense of who I am, my calmness. And I want to be a steady influence. And I can't do that if I'm not reflecting.
No, I get that. I suppose that word grow connects the way I think about these. I hope I'm slowly changing internally for the better as I go along the way, type of thing. But I think that the word grow connects because I kind of always think, I want to do this coming year something that scares me, several things that scare me. If they don't scare me a little bit, if I don't think they're slightly beyond our grasp, then I'm just retreading
Same ground. Yeah.
The stuff we could do, or I could do 10 years ago or 5 years ago, etc. So, yeah, there got to be things that you think, oh, dear, oh me, we're in at the deep end here.
Discomfort, which I think is the start of growth, you see.
Yeah, out of our depth.
Yeah,
slightly.
Yeah, so it could be, you know, I was in a conversation with someone recently and they were, you could say, complaining about someone else. And I said, so you need to have a conversation with them. No, I'm not doing that. I said, well, you can't just complain.
Yeah.
In order to move that forward, you are going to have to do the thing that feels most difficult.
Yeah.
Well, I can't help other people do that unless I'm modelling and helping and learning how to do that better and better.
Yeah.
So exactly like you, it's just the stretches into different things. So, you know, there's
the challenge of it.
And without discomfort and without disruption, I always think that is the teacher. Actually, disruption and discomfort and stretch and challenge are the teacher that we can respond to in two ways. We can ignore it and imagine it's not there, but it is really. Yeah. Or we can lean into it and go, I need to learn how do I get from here to there so that I grow. And that can be with a project, or it can be in how I am as a person.
Yeah. No, that's it. Yeah, that's why I always think of it as out of your depth. You know, when you're in water, and if you really try, you can put your toes just down on that. Yeah,
just about.
But you can't put your feet down properly because, you won't be able to breathe then. You know, so you're out of your depth and it's a struggle and a strain.
Yeah. But you're not going to drown.
No, you're not going to drown. And that's a good place to be, I think.
Yeah, and sometimes you must. This must be true for you, Steve. But you can start really well. You know, you can. I did Pause for Thought on Radio 2. I talked about this, where Derek Redmond, the athlete, running was it the 400 meters, wasn't it?
I remember that.
Barcelona Olympics, and he's running. Really great start. He's meant to win this race. And then he pulls up with that hamstring snapping, which is a horrible laugh, and falls to the floor. And I often think like that, we can start with the best of intentions at the start. You can have all your, like you said, you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 things that you want to achieve this coming year. And some of them may start really well and then something will happen. And it's in that moment where it feels like you've fallen. What do you do? And Derek Redmond got back up, didn't he? He tried to get back up and he tried to run again, and then...
it's a great film. You can watch it on YouTube, can't you?
It's really
been put to music now.
Yeah, Coldplay.
Is it Coldplay?
It's Coldplay.
But it's really worth watching. Derek Redmond.
Yeah.
It was the 1992 Olympic Games, 400 metres.
And his dad runs on, doesn't he, and picks him up. And I've always wondered... And
walks back round with him.
Almost
till he crosses
carrying
the
him.
line.
Yeah. And I've always wondered what he said to him. Yeah. And I think in the year ahead, where it's like... Are we going to make it? Are you going to learn what you need to learn, Jill? Steve, are you going to achieve those goals, those targets? When it doesn't happen, what's the voice that's in your head? God or telling you to keep. It's okay, just keep going. Yeah. Just one more step, keep going. Just do the next one thing.
And what I find is that sometimes when you are out and you think this is a total loser, I'm talking in terms of projects, you think, I'm really chasing a hiding to nothing here. This isn't going to work. And then all of a sudden, kaboom, something happens at the last minute and it all comes together and you think, wow, I'm more shocked at that than anyone else around me.
Yeah.
because they always go, well, we always knew that was going to happen.
You're always going to pull it off, Steve.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, I don't think so.
Yeah.
You know, it's an extraordinary thing.
Yeah. So, like, how did you do it when you wrote your list this year? What did you just have a coffee and sit down and write, or?
Yeah, I might look at it once or twice or three times. But the thing is, Jill, before I wrote it down, I knew what I was going to write down. I know, I've known for weeks, weeks and weeks, sometimes months, actually, what's going to go on it. So when I sat down with, well, not a piece of paper, I do it on my laptop, kind of as a Word doc, I know darn well what I'm going to write down, but there's something about writing it all down that's really good for you. You write it down. It's in black and white. You are committed to these things. You've got to really assess the stress.
Am I serious?
Am I serious about this going on the list?
Yeah.
Because at the moment it goes on the list, it goes from an idea to I am committed to this. So, there's a weighing up that goes on. But in truth, for this year's list, you could have asked me a month before Christmas, or perhaps 2 weeks before Christmas.
And you'd know.
And I knew what I was going to write on the list. And even if I lost the thing, I'd still know what it was. I still know what it was all about. And they're all new things like we've been saying, that I've not done yet, new opportunities. I think, I probably quoted this before, but Peter, as in Spider-Man, his Uncle Ben, says when he finds out that his nephew Peter has this superpower, he says, with great power or great privilege comes great responsibility. And I kind of think if I've got a power, i.e., that's been granted to me by this for this reason or that reason, or by this method or that method. My job is to exploit it, to use it, to push it. And if I don't, that seems to me to be the abandonment of my responsibility, my duty. So all my goals for this year are things that I am scared of.
But you were like, I was just thinking,
we could go bankrupt.
How many times have I had that? You had an amazing idea previously to do with Oasis Restore, didn't you?
Yes, I did. So there you go. So I can tell you about that, can't I? So Oasis Restore, as you know, is an alternative to a youth jail. So young people who've committed very violent crime up to the age of 18 can be sentenced to us, as the courts would say, by a judge, by a jury. And so they come to us for the most violent of crimes that you can commit. And it's our responsibility to care for them, to nurture them. None of this is to excuse their crimes. They are serious, horrendous crimes. And there's always a victim on the end of it. Always, otherwise they wouldn't be with us. But the reality is we have to understand this as well. And I understand that what these young people, to a person, one way or the other, their stories are all different, have lacked is stability, love, stable love, real love, with boundaries, tough love, firm love, whatever you want to call it. And our job is to work with these young people to parent them in some ways. That's not to claim anything special of ourselves, but to parent them. But what happens is the day that your sentence is up, you're released, which sounds great, isn't it? I've been released, but you're not. Actually, what happens is the day your sentence is up, you get sent back to, in many cases, the very community where you were enslaved by a gang that owns you. Yeah. So you're put in a car or whatever, and you're driven straight back
into their arms,
into the arms of the gang that controlled you. Yeah. And so the reoffending rate, as it gets called, in the youth sector of the justice system, and the last recorded stats from 18 months ago were 82.9% of young people re-offended within 12 months.
That's craziness.
Yeah, and what's even more crazy, of course, it's not re-offending, it's reconviction.
Yeah, who got caught?
These are the kids that get, otherwise you wouldn't know they re-offended. They got caught and they got put on trial and they ended up back inside. 82.9, 83% of them within 12 months. Of course, all of them recommit crime.
Yeah.
You know, and if you stretch the stats to instead of 12 months to include 18 months or 2 years, you'd probably demonstrate that. Yeah. But all of them commit crime. What we're really measuring with that 82.9% is the number of them that get caught, not the ones of them that commit crime. And that's because there's so little, and this isn't to knock the youth offending teams and all the rest of it who try to work with these kids, but those teams are stretched. They're wonderful people, but we all know that a young person leaving, or anybody actually leaving a custodial sentence, needs to leave with a friend, and they need to leave with a job or learning opportunity, and they need to leave with a home where they feel safe. And so I have worked on this scheme, which I put forward to everybody about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
It's on your 2 year ago list.
Yeah. So it's been on my year list for forever and a day. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that sometimes happens. You don't achieve it, but you roll it over. Yeah. You know, kind of because
it's a rollover year.
Yeah, you know you're on way. So I knew we needed to buy a house near to Oasis Restore so that we could continue to care for young people as they left us, and also big enough so that we could divide it up and give parents or family, whoever cared for that child, the opportunity to spend more time with them whilst they're with us, so that we can work with those parents or those grandparents or brothers or sisters, because there's things that need to change when the young person is released from us or released from the custodial system. How do we support that family, et cetera, et cetera? So I came up with this idea of buying a house. Well, we got no money, that's the thing. Yeah. And where do you buy a house? And eventually found, with a long story I won't bore you with, we found this giant old vicarage. And so then I got in touch with the diocese and asked whether we could buy it. And it went backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. And then they said we could buy it for a huge sum of money, because it's fantastic property, but we haven't got any money. So then I came up with a scheme. This was a year and a half ago when I came up with a scheme for how we'd buy it and work with people, etc., etc. Anyway, we finally managed to get together the money to buy this place, and this very afternoon, I went to see the estate agent. And look at these.
You've got the keys.
These are the keys to what I believe are one of the biggest steps forward in the justice system in this country for anyone. Because if you leave prison without a friend and without a home, people to support you. Yeah. And we're talking about young people here. You wouldn't turf. You wouldn't turf your totally stable 18-year-old. You wouldn't turf out of your house and never speak to them again. And yet we do it to the most vulnerable of kids. And these are the keys to that premises, which just before I got here, I went to collect from the estate agent.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So if I lose them, it's the only set. There's a lot of keys, aren't there? But there you are. It's a big house. So this year, a giant project is to turn this house into a home and to think through how we're going to care for the young people who leave us and how we're going to care for their families as they come to stay with us and provide them with the backup and support they're going to need for the future.
Love it.
On my list.
So very
It's number
exciting.
1. Well, actually, it's number 2. But there you go, on my list for this year.
So lots of key jangling going on.
A lot of key jangling. Why? It's a big thing.
It's very exciting.
Yeah, it's only the beginning of the year. Already got the keys.
It's great. So one bit of encouragement, Steve, that you would give, anyone listening to this podcast who is like, I've always tried the resolutions thing, but maybe I just need to think about how am I? And what are some things, some goals that I'd like to achieve? What bit of encouragement would you give to people this year?
What I would say is don't write down hundreds of things that you think will turn you into a perfect person and a perfect life, because it's never going to happen. Write down the things that most matter to you, and write them down, and then print them off. I sometimes do that, and stick them on a wall somewhere, and remind yourself of these things, and chase them every day, and recognize that there will be huge setbacks, because life comes at us in all sorts of shapes, doesn't it? Massive setbacks. And sometimes you will feel like giving up. Sometimes you feel like you're failed. I guess sometimes you'll feel like I've not become the person I want to be, and I've reacted in exactly the same way as I used to 12 months on, and nothing's changed. But even that frustration of being stuck is part of the learning curve, isn't it? To keep going. And for me, it's a strange thing to say, a matter of spirituality as well. It's like this is what my life is about. This isn't a nice to have. I've never had an ambition to get an iWatch. You know, I'm picking up, I haven't got an iWatch. But if you got an iWatch, it's a wonderful thing to have. But I've never had an ambition to get a new car.
Own something.
Or something. I mean, maybe my car will finally fall to bits and I need one. Who knows? But these are things that I think are life-shaping for me and for others, and I'm genuinely glued to. And if they don't happen, I will learn, and I'll go for it again next year.
Yeah. And I think for me, Steve, is to know, it's back to that story of Derek Redmond. You know, and he's running and he's struggling, and sometimes he's up and then he falls again. And it's that moment where his dad breaks in and carries him. And I think whether it's you know, the people you have around you who are the people that carry you when it feels like, I don't know if I can go for this goal, or it is the voice of the divine saying, go again tomorrow, again tomorrow. Just do the next smallest thing that you can do, but just go again tomorrow.
Which is why I described it as a spiritual act, because I am reliant on others. Otherwise, we're never going to turn this house into what it should be. There's a whole team that needs to get involved. And in the end, I owe my very life to God. Every moment I have, so everything is a gift from God, and I need God's strengthening in everything I'm about.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jill. We can learn from each other about our lists.
2026.